All right, so you may have a tool like this, which is basically the IK Foam Pro 2. Now you may be also experiencing something like this. It's just not foaming, is it? So we're basically gonna go through the step-by-step guide on how to maintain your IK Foam Pro 2, just to clean out a few parts. It might just be something very easy to fix, but it also might be a little bit further down. We'll see. First, we're basically going to get down to the first suspicion that I may have, and that is the foaming tip right here. So let's get right to it. First things first, we're basically gonna do a channel flow. It's kind of like a signal flow in terms of music lingo, where they start from the source and then make their way through as they inspect what the issue may be. In this case, I'm suspecting, or I may be wrong as well, that it could possibly be the tip. And so we're simply gonna start off with the maintenance on this tip. We're not just gonna open this collar out right here. I'm basically just going to twist this off. I'm gonna take the whole entire stem off. That way I can inspect what may be going on. By the way, depressurize your IK Foam Pro 2 before you do this, and that's the piece that you're basically going to have. So let's open it up. You're gonna have a little collar around the neck here. I'm simply going to twist that, loosen up the collar, take that out. We're just gonna set that down right there. We have our pattern nozzle, and we're simply gonna blow this out. What we're gonna do is we got this little tiny piece here. What I'm gonna do is I'm simply gonna pull these two apart, just like so. Put that down, and you'll see this O-ring right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm just basically gonna inspect it to see if it's in good condition, and it actually looks like it's still in good condition. All we gotta do is remove that foam filter that's trapped right inside. I have a little pressure washer needle here that they use to dislodge the filter for the water inlet, and I'm just gonna simply push that filter out. There we go. Filter seems like it's still in good condition. It does feel a little bit hard. We're actually not gonna be using this. I'm gonna be replacing it. Over here, I have diluted with me some rinseless wash. What I'm gonna do, just spray the product right in there, grab boar's hair detail brush, and just give it a nice clean just to maintain it, and there you have it. Let's just leave that right here. We're just gonna deal with some of these parts right here. I'm just gonna take this purple nozzle, and as you can see, just right in the middle here, you're gonna have a very small orifice space. And again, with the pressure washer needle, I'm just gonna put that through, make sure nothing is lodged in. Just brush that out, clean it, dry it, brush these parts off, dry it, of course, again, and the collar, I'm just gonna give it a quick wipe, and there we go. So we basically started with the tip here. Parts here are good, they're clean. The O-ring actually has gotten a little bit loose to where it should be sitting. So I believe we're gonna have to be replacing that. This is gonna come in handy, the IK Foam Pro 2 maintenance kit. As I said earlier, we're gonna determine to see if it was just the nozzle tip that was causing the issue. Now, as mentioned, again, the O-ring is a little bit loose here, which could be the problem, but we're gonna piece it back together just to make sure and to see if it actually is causing the issue. We're gonna change it with a brand new filter, just so it's new. I'm gonna pop one of these out, which, by the way, if you purchase the IK Foam Pro 2, it's gonna come with this as a maintenance part. We're gonna take that clear cylinder that we had earlier with this O-ring, let that sit here, and I'm simply going to put the foam block right there. Take my needle and just assist it by pushing it into the chamber. I'm probably gonna use a flathead screwdriver just because I don't wanna poke too many holes into the actual filter and it's not situating properly with the needle. It's clean, folks, so don't worry. Cleaned it out. It's sitting nice and properly on that part right there. We're gonna face this upwards, take our purple nozzle tip, lay that on top like so. Now we're gonna move into the collar in any direction really, but make sure that the narrow side is facing up. We're simply gonna do that. Hold the two like this, grab the actual stem, and simply go right here. So this tip right here is actually gonna be the bottom. This threaded part is gonna be at the top. Simply insert that in, and begin to twist the collar on. So as simple as that, we've deduced that this could possibly be the only cause of why this is foaming that way. And if this is what fixes it, then that's great. It's only just gonna be this part. On the IK Foam Pro 2, right here, I'm gonna put it back, screw that in. Now I do like to have a vertical pattern, so if you notice that you screw this back on and it's flat, you just simply have to loosen up the collar like that, hold onto the purple tip like this, and begin to tighten the collar itself. That way it doesn't move the purple tip at the same time. Let's see if this does something. We're just gonna pump it up. And I'm gonna make sure I pump this up properly just so we can get the right amount of product and we're not gonna experience any more issues. So let's see. The moment of truth. That is what I'm looking for. A proper wide angle fan when it comes to the maintenance of an IK Foam Pro 2. We would have dove in a little bit deeper if it did not work, but clearly sometimes all it needs is just a filter replacement. So there you go, we just had to take the stem out, the actual collar where the foam filter sits, cleaned out just a little bit of the grime in the nozzle tip. The O-ring is still clearly working, because if it wasn't, I'd be getting product leakage right out of the seams right here where the threads are. So the O-ring is still working. One more time. That solves the problem right there. But let's go a little bit further. Let's say now that that's fixed, you do want to clean and maintain your IK Foam Pro 2. You want to get deep into the chamber. Let's dive into that anyways, just so you guys are familiar with the IK Foam Pro 2 replacement parts and maintenance. Let's get right to it. All right, so let's dive deeper into the actual chamber. And since we pumped this up, just gonna depressurize it. I don't want anything splashing back onto me when I open this up. At this point, I'm not gonna need this container anyways. So we're just gonna move that aside and focus on the chamber. I'm gonna take this off once more because we're gonna inspect another tiny orifice that is right in here. More on that later. We've already kind of fixed this. We found the solution. We're now looking at the chamber. We've got a sleeve and the actual tube line, feed line, whichever one you want to call it. We're going to be taking those off. And by the way, if you can see inside, we already have the intermediate foam orifice inserted into here. You're going to have 3. You're going to have green and orange as well, which are going to dictate different type of foam consistencies. The gray one is going to be your intermediate foam. We like to keep it in the intermediate foam. That seems to work for us. But yeah, you're gonna have many options in playing around with the orifice sizes that will change the consistency of your foam. We're just gonna take this off. There you go. We're just gonna set that down. Next, the sleeve. We're just gonna simply pop that out. With the rinseless wash and the tube, you can certainly spray some product in there just to clean it out. Now, I don't have a bucket here with water, so I'm just gonna rinse this out real quickly. I'll be right back. All right, so the tube is now cleaned. I basically just rinsed it off with some water. We're gonna set that aside. We're gonna still focus on the actual mechanism here. This thing right here is basically going to twist counterclockwise. You'll notice that as I do twist counterclockwise, it's gonna start to loosen up the actual pump handle and the little top right here. There we go. Take that off. Now, you can leave all that black gonk in there because this is basically lubrication for the actual pump mechanism, so you don't have to clean that out. But what we want to look into is the O-ring. This O-ring, what I'm looking for is basically, is it loose? Has it lost its rigidity, its dependability, all that good stuff? And right now, it's a little bit loose. Let's clean that up. So I'm just gonna gently take that off. Again, my microfiber towel, just spray some rinseless wash, maybe 2. Just gonna give it a good clean. Now, typically, you can spray some hot water on these O-rings just to snap them back, loosen them up a little bit, and to really clean them out. Now I'm gonna test out to see if this sits on the actual tube properly. If it's loose, I'm probably wanting to actually replace the actual O-ring. We can certainly replace it. If the idea here is to improve the performance of your IK Foam Pro 2, then just go straight ahead and replace it anyways. So what we're basically gonna do, utilize our IK Foam Pro 2 maintenance kit here, which by the way comes in a few parts. And what we're looking for in these plethoras of O-rings is this almost medium-sized O-ring that's nice and thin. That's what we're looking for. And we're simply going to pop that in. It feels a little bit more tighter, feels more stout, and I can trust that. Cool? Once I disassembled this and unscrewed it from the actual pump mechanism, this right here, this housing will loosen up. And now we're kind of left with the chamber's handle. You're gonna notice that we have the trigger here, and what we're simply gonna do is lift up the back and pulling it up this way. So that's one way you can definitely take that off. And we are left with this. This trigger right here is simply releasing liquid into this orifice right here and out the actual stem. We're gonna be taking this off as well. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull this back, slightly lift up, and I'm just going to pull everything apart like that. That takes this off, takes the spring off, and we're left with a chamber. Now, this is actually in good condition, as you can see, working very well. But I'm just gonna wanna clean it out a little bit. Again, with our rinseless wash, just spray a little bit on that, and with a detail brush, just get rid of some of the grime and the gunk that is in there. Typically, you'll find whatever chemical you've been using with these IK Foam Pro 2s in this little basin here, because either if you overpressure your pump, you're gonna find some excess product that have been leaking into this space here. So you just wanna make sure that you clean that out. Once you're done, compressed air is gonna be good. We don't have that right now, so we're just gonna use this microfiber towel. Can get into the chambers here, just wiping them clean. And what I'm looking for is just to make sure that there are no more debris in this mechanism. Fantastic, that's clean. Now we're gonna go into some of these orifices, which we've already done on this stem, and we're gonna clean out orifices, because these orifices could possibly be the reason why you're also not getting the output foam that you desire in your IK Foam Pro 2. In this case, we're gonna be using, again, our needle, do the feed chamber tube here, and I'm simply just going to take this off. Now, I don't know if the camera may see this, but in this little orifice tip here, there is gonna be a tiny hole just right here. Now you guys may not see it, but that needs a little bit of cleaning. Here, let me see if I can bring it a little bit closer. There's a tiny hole just right here, just right there. We're gonna see if this fits, and it does. Not all the way, but I just want to be able that nothing is lodged in there. We're good. You'll notice that there are some needles that may be too thick for it. Don't force your way into it. It's going to expand the actual orifice in this tip right here, and that's going to further damage it. The bigger the hole is not going to make it any better for your foam results. There you go, a nice clean tip. Take our feed tube back and simply pop it right in. I'm going to check the bottom filters. No debris that is blocking the tube filter, and so we're good with that orifice. The second orifice that we do have to look into in the actual chamber itself, there is another orifice in this hole to where the actual tube connects into. There could possibly be something lodged in there as well, and we're gonna double check with our needle. It's really difficult to kind of see it and point it out on camera too, but trust me, there is a hole in there. There we go, we're through. Now, if we zoom in right here, if we zoom in right inside, you'll probably see the needle moving. So there you have it. There's an orifice in there, making sure that that's clear. It's clear. I saw my needle actually pass through, and so we know that that's good. Probably gonna treat that as well with some rinseless wash. That orifice is all set. Now, let's just replace a few things here. Okay, so we're no longer using the old one. We're gonna chuck that aside, and we're gonna be using this new mechanism that comes in the IK Foam Pro 2 maintenance kit, which by the way, you can buy at tocsupplies.ca. What you wanna do is keep an eye on this item here. This notch is gonna face upward when we do put it back into the actual chamber, right? before we do that, we're gonna need the spring back. So the spring, the heavy side of the spring where the coil is nice and tight over here, that's gonna go in the back of the mechanism. So I'm just gonna show you guys right here. That's gonna go and sit like that. All right, I don't know if you guys see that. Cool, cool. The least compacted spring is going to click onto that plus right here. Snap that right on like this. And what we're gonna do is as we grab the chamber, we're gonna insert this pointy tip first. And as it inserts like that, I'm simply gonna use just my hands, pull back at the spring. Sorry, this is gonna look like I'm struggling. I just wanna make sure that this does not fly in my face. I'm gonna snap it back. There we go. So that open notch right there facing up, and we are all set. Just test to make sure that that's good. We're all set. All right. So now moving forward with the trigger itself, this is going to come in back at an angle. So if we're looking at it, it's going to come in this way. So I'm just going to do that right here. There are 2 openings right there that are going to sit in these prongs. We're going to put it in an angle like so. There we go. And it should be springy from there. Cool. Moving on to the next step. Let's just inspect this real quickly, make sure it's all good. There is an O-ring here. It is looking a little bit dirty and it's slightly loose. We're gonna replace that too, but keep in mind, we're not getting rid of the grease. We're keeping all that. I'm gonna be using a flathead screwdriver and slowly tucking that in. It's really slippery. And popping it out like that, pushing it outwards, and we're simply gonna take that off. It was a little bit loose in there, and that's not what we want. We want a tight seal. So I am leaving the grease that is on there, because when I put this O-ring, there's multiple varieties of them in there, by the way. I'm gonna get another medium-sized to small-sized O-ring that's a little bit thicker. Not 100% sure what the size is, but that one right here is simply going to go back in there. Do you need extra lubrication? Not really, because from what I see, we have quite a bit of grease left in there. So that's our new O-ring. I have this assembled already and everything inside. We're gonna put the hat, I guess you can say, I don't know really what the exact term is this, but we're gonna call it a hat. We're gonna put it right in there and situate it like that. Test that right here. It's not moving. I'm just holding it with my hands here. That's good. And now we're gonna move on to this pump tube right here, which by the way, we changed the O-ring on. I'm just simply gonna slide it in. Once it's in there, again, this is gonna be operated with a thread twist. We're gonna twist it clockwise until it's nice and tight. Now you don't have to overly tighten this. That's how you damage things. We're good right there. Now there is another O-ring where the threads are that meet the tip of this container. That seals everything up. And by the looks of it, it's a little bit loose. We're gonna replace that as well. Flathead screwdriver, and we're simply going to pop that out. After a long period of time trying to get this O-ring out, which by the way, I'm not gonna lie, is gonna be difficult, so be patient or get some help, whichever one. If we're gonna be doing a full maintenance and repair process here, this is something that you can definitely do. Saw that it was really loose in there, so we certainly took it off. By the way, this O-ring sits again just right here where the threads are in the inside that connect this chamber to the actual container. Sits right on top of that to seal that nice and tight. That's off. We can get rid of that. Let's get this new one right here, and we're simply gonna put it back in the same spot. So right in there. I don't know if you guys can see the O-ring just sitting right there. With the screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, I'm not gonna poke at it too hard. I'm just gonna assist it and lay it onto the actual surface. Moving forward, when you do close up your IK, ready for the next detailing job, don't overly tighten these with the containers because they will cause a little bit of damage to the O-ring, and that is gonna be a bad day. These are designed to seal that gap between the chamber and the container. That way you don't have any leaks. What I'm doing here is I'm just simply tucking this in nice and easy. I'm not trying to stab any holes, or I'm not trying to damage the O-ring here. There you go. It's sitting nice and flush. Awesome. So that's done. We're basically moving forward here with the sleeve back on to the mechanism. Nice and easy. Now when we hit to this part, we're simply just gonna do that nice and tucked in. By the way, we didn't use the other extra parts in there because after inspecting them, they were still fine. We're gonna move forward into reassembling this whole entire chamber. So now that the sleeve's in, your tube line or feed tube is gonna go right back in to that hole right there, right here. It's going back in, sitting nice and stout there. Last but not least, the last piece. The last piece. Right into the chamber, twisting that in. And there we have it. Chamber is reassembled. Let's put it back on and let's see the results. All right, now the chamber and the container and the whole IK Foam Pro 2 is reassembled. Let's check it out. We're just gonna give it a few pumps. Pump is a little bit smoother, I'm not gonna lie. Feels good. And we're simply going to press the trigger in 3, 2, 1. Much better. And there you have it. It's definitely quite a few steps in maintaining and keeping your IK Foam Pro 2 clean, but that's the whole idea. If you want these products to last quite a bit, you just got to be able to do them. Follow these steps, one at a time. Don't rush it. Be patient with it. There are going to be some replacements that you might have to make, some judgment calls you might have to make. Does this need a new O-ring? If it looks a little bit beaten up, a little bit loose, and it's not snapping into where it should be, change the O-ring either way. Clean out some of the parts like what we did. Make sure the orifices are clear of any debris, because debris, they can build up here, especially with some of the products that you use in them. They are thick, and so they can harden in there and cause some clogging. Of course, we used some of the parts here with the IK Foam Pro 2 maintenance kit, which again, by the way, you can get at tocsupplies.ca. You can get the IK Foam Pro 2 at tocsupplies.ca. Make sure you follow this video to clean out your IK Foam Pro 2 the best way you can. I'm Josh, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bug guts, bird droppings, mud, traffic film, grease, all that nasty stuff, that is what alkaline is going to go into.